Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Gifts of the Sacred Feminine, the Empath journey. Welcome to an Enlightened World Network online channel. This is the our Carmen. I'm here with I'm here with Carmen Hansen, and this is a show all about supporting those who are highly sensitive. And we're just so excited to share ideas and thoughts and conversation with you. We're also grateful to Ruth Anderson for asking us to do this show, and just very delighted to be here on the Enlightened World Living channel. Our intention for this show is to support you with lots of tips and tools to help you live your best self. I highly encourage you to wander over to the Enlightened World Network YouTube channel and check out some of the previous shows we've done. There's great tips and tools and exercises and wonderful conversation that I'm sure that you will find very supportive for your journey. So today we're going to it's called Let the Sunshine In is the name of our show. And we're going a little bit to the dark side of things in managing what we call negative energy. So let me introduce Carmen to you, and I can hardly wait to get into our conversation today, Carmen. Carmen Hansen is an animal communicator. She's a sound wellness practitioner, a shamanic elder, and metaphysical teacher, focusing on bringing love and light into the world. Her website is chakramize.com, so if you want to wander over there, you can connect with Carmen there. Yay, so glad, Carmen, to have our conversation again.
Thank you, Sharon. I'm also I love these conversations, and our intention is for the highest good for all the viewers, and to help manage some of this big energy that's happening and the shifts and the momentum that we're going into. It's an exciting time to be alive, and it's also very scary. So my introduction for Sharon is my friend Sharon. She's the founder of Sound Wellness, the Sound Wellness Institute. She's a sound wellness practitioner extraordinaire. She's also an international speaker, a best-selling author, a recording artist, a master sound healer, a publisher. And I'm so pleased that we have our friendship, Sharon. We've been very supportive. And if you ever want to see some of the offerings that her and her partner Ed put out, it's on soundwellnessinstitute.com. So we encourage you to slip over there. There's lots of free tips and tricks and vibrational things that you can do to support yourself. So welcome everyone to the show, and thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much, Carmen. I'm really excited. I've got the website here that I could check in so that we can see if there's any questions that come up. I'll keep an eye on that. And I'm excited because last month we talked about, well, we've had so many great shows, but last month we were talking about shifting to a positive mindset. Now, when we're diving into a discussion on what we call negative energy, the capacity and the ability and the tools to shift to a positive mindset are a really important part of managing that. And so I encourage you to go and check out last month's show, and as we explore the topic today, I'm sure you'll find the last couple of months' shows actually really helpful.
Yeah, we did discuss quite a few management strategies. I might put it in a very business-like term.
Yeah, and that work really well too.
And with our world circumstances as they are today, it's easy to be influenced by fear, anger, frustration, all those tension everything. Emotions flood into us, and part of the negative part is keeping us separated, keeping us away from our loved ones, away from our friends and family. So how can we release and transmute that heavy, blah, yucky, mud, sludge energy? How can we lighten the load while supporting our whole world? And these are all questions I've been asking myself, because I've been just as prone to be stuck in the mud lately as anyone. And I think it's possible to give the angels, our guides, the mission to transmute and shift the energy if we will release it, if we are willing to part with that familiar friend of low vibration. And our task is realizing it's movable and being willing to release it, because I really do feel like such an interesting part of our humanity is that the negative stuff, or the old mindset, or I can't do that, is part. It becomes like an old friend. It's like an old holy sweater that you should have thrown away 10 years ago, but you still keep it because it reminds you of your dad, or such things as that, or an item that you never use, and you're keeping it in the closet, and you look at it once in a while and go, oh yeah, I have never used that, and we still keep it. So that's very much what I feel is part of our conversation within ourselves, of holding on to those musty old things that aren't serving us anymore, really, or never have, perhaps.
What a good point, Carmen. And I think we're coming into spring in 1 more month. Can you believe it? 6 weeks or so, we have the spring equinox, when usually people start speeding up a little bit and get the itch to clean out some of that stuff. And what a great point, that sometimes we hold on to things that don't serve us. And I'd like to also add here, Carmen, that it can be a physical thing, like the shirt from your dad, or anything in the closet that reminds you of something you might be holding on to. There are also inner things that we're holding on to, beliefs, or beliefs especially. We can hold on to things, or people, those kinds of things, that we hold on to a lot of things, especially in times when we really don't feel that we have much control, which is the last 2 years. There's been a great deal of helplessness and hopelessness that makes people go into that place of wanting to hold on whatever they can. And so that, I feel, has been amplified in many people, holding on to whatever makes them feel, quote, safe.
Familiar, safe,
Familiar,
exactly.
safe, yes.
And also pointing over there. We don't always remember that we have the choice of how we feel, how we react. We have the choice. It's not, oh, they did that to me. It's how you're reacting. And there's circumstances that aren't very yummy and nice that happen to us in our day-to-day life. And we can still choose how to react. So let the sun shine in. Just listen to some birds, look out your window at some sun, feel into the trees, notice how beautifully peaceful and stately they are. You can think of your animals. Many people find so much comfort in their animals, and there's a reason for that. They're far more neutral. They're far more comforting, and they love us unconditionally in most cases.
Yeah, animals don't get stuck in any of those patterns. They're probably looking at us going, "What?"
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
thinking as we deepen the conversation, Carmen, I want to bring Incredible over here and sing three
Mm.
ohms to create sacred space because we can get into an area here, depending on where our conversation goes, that may be a little deeper, I should say, maybe.
I'm
Okay.
just gonna I'm just gonna mute while you do that.
Okay. So, as I tap the bowl, I'll tap the bowl 3 times, and I invite you to sing Om along with Carmen and I 3 times along with the bowl with the intention to create sacred space, no matter where you are. Om. Om. And continuing our conversation with negative energy, thank you, Carmen, for that beautiful energy, the beautiful energy of the ohms. I found a definition of what we call negative energy that makes sense to me in a beautiful vibrational way. And what we call negative energy is something most empaths will bump into in their lives, in their sensitivity, things that don't just feel right. Those kinds of things, empaths can be very, very sensitive to. So, this definition we share in our textbooks, and I love this definition. It comes from Elaine Seiler, and she talks about negative energy. And this is what she says: negative energy is out of harmony or out of resonance. Negative energy is a lower vibrational energy that creates a disturbance in the field. It's actually not really negative. It is different and unwelcome in a particular situation. And I know many times in the past we've bumped into, and if you're highly sensitive, like Carmen and I, you can even just be walking down the street and bump into a kind of what feels like a cloud of, ooh, that feels weird. What's that? Where did that come from? And it just feels like I love this idea of disturbance in the field. It feels like a field we live in an overall field that we call the universe. 0 point field is another word for it. God, goddess, all of that is an expression of this field of consciousness that we contribute to and are part of and create with and for. And so disturbances in the field can feel a little upsetting because the field is very conscious, and as we grow into expanding our own awareness, then we can become more intuitive and more tuned in, or notice those energies that feel more like a disturbance and they just don't feel right.
Really good point. Sometimes we don't notice because it goes along with our own mood.
Yeah, very much so. Or we might create the disturbance in the field. I've probably done that a bunch. I call it energy droppings, Carmen. When you have those blah kinds of moments, then human beings are emotional beings. That's what fires us up. However, sometimes the emotions aren't all that positive, and that's being human, of course. So I just call it energy droppings around the house, that when we have those emotional moments, that can stay in a space, and that creates a type of disturbance in the field.
It sure does. I'm really good at it too, Sharon. I'm an
I think
expert. I'm an expert at that.
I think we all have our moments, Carmen. Yeah. Well, let's talk for a minute about, for those who are curious about the idea of a disturbance or an energy like this. I think we've all been in a situation where the hairs on the back of the neck are rise, where something just feels really weird. Yeah, or you get goosebumps. Yes, those kinds of things. What other signs might we experience that tells us there may be a disturbance of or unwelcome energy in the field?
For me, it changes my mood.
Is it a sudden change of mood, Carmen?
It's like a sudden impact of frustration or anger, something that I wasn't experiencing earlier, and all of a sudden it's there. And so when I recognize that, I just go, okay, is this even mine? Because that's a really important question for us as highly sensitive people to ask. Is this it even mine? And if you're tuning in regularly, you can get heart, yes, like you can get um, body responses of a yes or a no. And so that's why when we continue to look and tune in, we're just empowering ourselves more and more to understand and hear what what will help us move through that. So for me, it is a sudden, and I, and excuse me, I know that also there's times where I've had little pains, not big pains like I know other people have described, but little pains like a pain in the neck, or all of a sudden I notice, oh man, my shoulder is aching. I'm carrying the world on my shoulders. My feet are hurting. I'm not walking in the right direction. Those types of things. And so the more we look and say, okay, this is all right. This is all right for now. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm experiencing. And am I willing, and I am able, but am I willing to give this up at this moment? So that's how I have come to um, releasing those sudden eh. And then there's the ones where you wake up in the morning and it's almost like you're in a fog of confusion, and that's been happening a lot in the last 2 years, simply because it's everyone is in the same boat. So we're all sharing we're all interwoven, we're all connected energetically, and we're all feeling the impact of these things. So in those cases, when it's like a general malaise, I'm just asking for love and light to be flowed down into me, replacing the the sluggish stuff, and then I think of it going out to the world uh, in order that other people can touch with that and feel hope and see the light at the end of the tunnel. And um, I know here in Alberta, Canada, we've just had an announcement of the restrictions being eased, and we still don't know if that's going to be accomplished because there's a caveat on those things. So it keeps us kind of on this roller coaster of and yeah. And I'm interested to hear how you feel about it. I know some of them, but I'm interested to hear how you receive those sudden kind of inundations.
Thank you for sharing that, Carmen. And I love that you shared that we're all connected, because sometimes when I tune in, I tune, and I don't know, sometimes I think my soul does this automatically, where I tune into the collective field, my connection with our entire human family, to sense where the feeling is, the feeling nature is, and how I, as an individual, might be able to serve that, which is what I love what you do to serve that collective field, is to let the sunshine in, to let that light and love from the soul to fill you, and then shine it out for anyone who may be served by that light. And I think many empaths are doing that, Carmen, because there are dots of light all over the world from people who are consciously allowing their own bright light to expand into their community circles. And that is extremely needed right now, because we're all feeling that roller coaster very, very much, and the heaviness of the unknowing. And there is great learning and great depth in that unknowing as far as the growth we can achieve. However, it is a heck of a journey, to put it mildly, to try to manage all of this up and down and up and down. And so it's really important for all of us, I believe, to have those tools where we can shift. And we shared a ton of those in last month's show on shifting mindset. There's another aspect of the energy droppings that I discovered years ago when Ed's mom was in, my husband's mom was in extended care. And a lot of people are in challenging situations in extended care. They're not well and they need nursing care, either on a part-time or ongoing basis. And mom was one of those. And so we would go daily to visit her and drop Ed's dad off to see her and pick her up and go visit mom. And walking down the hallways, it's like I could feel these clouds of heaviness that would be the feelings of people either there in their new home, or the family coming to visit them, who are concerned, who may be worried, who may be afraid, who may be upset. All of these things, all of these feelings I could feel in the hallway as I walked down the hall towards mom's room. And I discovered, and I don't remember how I discovered, but I was connecting, I guess, with Saint Germain. And Saint Germain has it's Saint, all of the angels and ascended masters and these wonderful beings who bring us love and energy, I feel as a consciousness. It's like a field. Like when we sing Om, we bring that consciousness into the space. So Saint Germain's consciousness has a purple light. And so what I'd ask as I was walking down the hall and I noticed one of these clouds of disturbance, then I would ask for Saint Germain's purple ray or purple light to come down into this space and clear or transmute this disturbance or this feeling of heaviness in the hallway. And every time I do this quietly in my mind, because there were usually other people around. So I would create a very strong intention. Saint Germain, please, I would love to have, I speak to this consciousness of Saint Germain, that purple ray or light come into this space and clear it for the people who live here. And each time I'd bump into or feel or sense one of these heavinesses or disturbances, then I would ask again, Saint Germain, please bring this purple ray of light here to dissipate or transmute this cloud of energy so people have a clear space. And I did that day after day after day when we walked in there. And it's interesting, walking out, Carmen, after visiting mom, the hallway was clear. And I am so grateful for that nudge from my soul or wherever it came from to actually state the intention to bring in a ray of sunshine, which in this case was the purple light, in order to transmute those disturbances so the space could be more comfortable and clear for people.
And how did it land on you? Was it just a knowing, or was it a physical, like did you feel like throwing up? Like how I just want you to clarify how you how you came to know it was there.
Oh, what a good question, Carmen, because there's a bunch of different ways that the bunch of different physical symptoms I feel when I encounter what I might call these disturbances in the field. And with the ones in the hallway with mums in mom's extended care is that I would feel it would feel heavy. It would feel thick and heavy. It's kind of like walking through water, but not quite that thick. It's different from walking through air, but it felt like there was a bit of resistance to the air. And then I think, oh, that was weird. Oh, okay, Saint Germain. Let's bring in the beam of light. And sometimes I remember years ago there was a friend who had just moved into a new office downtown, and we had met for lunch, Carmen, and her the previous occupant of her office, she had just moved in the day before. The previous occupant of her office had brain cancer and an incredibly negative, angry outlook and mindset. So that office was filled with heaviness and hurt and anger. So she asked me if there was anything I could do to help clear it. So I thought, okay, well, let's go up. And I walked into that office and I immediately felt dizzy and nauseous. The energy was so heavy and so thick. It wasn't like walking through water. It was more like walking through tar. The heaviness was enormous in there. It took a lot of work actually to clear that space, because it had been added to for I don't know how many years that other person was in there. So there, it depends on the situation. And so, what do you feel? Do you get the goosebumps or the hair standing up, or do you get some of these symptoms?
Well, I get when there's something I'm to pay attention to, and I've been practicing listening to guides and higher wisdoms than myself for 10 years now, at least 10 years, hopefully. And the funny part is that when I was a kid, I listened to it all the time. It was no problem. But once I hit puberty, wanted to be a cool kid, wanted to, fit in, wanted to impress, possibly a partner or someone I was attracted to, I threw it all away. So I had to relearn it or rehear it again. And I think a lot of people are in this boat. And for me, when I feel those things, it's more of a knowing rather than actual physical feeling, although it can manifest as a heaviness or a spot in the body. And it's not quite like being punched in the gut, but the overall malaise can feel a bit like that. Is like, okay, I just want to go lay down. And if you go lay down without attending to it, then you're sleeping or if you run off to do a task, same thing. You've let it just expand and actually plant more deeply into your actual physical, metaphysical, all the interwoven piece of us that makes us here, to sort of plant root even more strongly. So I would say for me, it's not the same as you, because I know that you have had actual physical symptoms of, someone else's stomach ache and such like that. It's more of a, like, I do get tingles. The hair stands up. I get right here on the top of my head, it's almost like it's going numb
Ah,
when there's a message. And when I tune in and just stop and say, okay, what is the message? All of a sudden, a sentence or a word comes into my head if I just breathe through it and stop. So we're so fast paced now that we don't always stop when we need to. We stub our toe and oh, that hurts, but off we go because I'm in a rush.
I did that last week.
we take a moment to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, toe. That really hurts," and rub it a little bit, or just even think about it and wrap it in love and say, I know you're down there. What's your message? Or what's the gift here? And if you're not hopping around yowling, um, and what can I do to help you? So a lot of those injuries, I've come to believe, are tap 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 on the shoulders to either stop. I mean, there's several people that I've noticed that get injured at their job, but they get injured time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that message? What is that message? Is it that you hate your job? It's an inappropriate job. It's hurting your body. What is the message? If we stop and think, well, I need my job because I need, well, the universe is good and loves us. The universe and our divine wisdom, our divine beings love us. And if we could tune into, oh, I need to change, either change departments within the company. You have an abusive boss. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, what can be done? You have abusive coworkers. You have toxic environments. You're creating the toxic environment. Maybe you're better to work alone. All these questions you could start posing yourself rather than just riding the wave of, okay, I hurt myself again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. For me, sometimes something small like a stub toe is a reminder to be mindful, because that's a promise I made a long time ago. And I wander in and out of mindfulness all day long, of course. So that's a practice. That's an ongoing practice. And for those people yeah, and here you're talking about, and it's interesting how you're mentioning the toxic environment, Carmen, because there's a combination of consciousnesses that go into co-creating such an environment, including our personal presence there and our personal contribution. And one of the things that I really believe it is part of what we are stepping into as human beings and part of a collective human family that is all connected is stepping into a much bigger capacity of who and what we are. And so the toxic environment is a symptom of a mindset that maybe for those who are feeling uncomfortable in that situation, well, we all feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is a message that, okay, it's time to either shift the mindset, shift the environment, whatever you can do to do that, or shift your environment to a new environment. There are always choices, and it's time for all of us, I believe, to step into a deeper soul path, because there's great need for it, and there's great opportunity for it right now. Huge opportunity for it right now.
Yeah, huge. And I'm starting to work with school age children, drum circles. I want to get
Oh,
them
how fun!
early and remind them of what magical beings, or I use the word magical loosely because it's really not magic. It's just we are a creative force, and what are we creating by saying, "Oh, I'm the victim of such or such." Do we have some comments?
I'm just checking, and not yet. We don't have comments there yet. There might be on the Sound Wellness page, because this is also broadcasting to the Sound Wellness page today. So I'll check that later and
Uh,
see if we
I,
have some comments there too.
I was just eager to. I thought I saw your eyes light up. So
Yeah.
it's so much fun to share. even via comment with our listeners and our viewers.
Maybe I can go ahead and, if you want to comment a little more, Carmen, about um, the some of the either some of the symptoms, because we talked about some of the symptoms, and
How does it
maybe
feel?
to how do we now we recognize there may be a disturbance in the field of some sort, and it can be at all levels, and it can be from the energy in a battlefield to the dropping the energy droppings in mom's extended care home, or it could be something in yourself that you just noticed, whether from sourced from yourself or something in your environment. Let's talk about ways we bring the sunshine in. You talked about a big one with connecting and bringing in light through the crown.
Hmm. That's one of my favorites. We can use sound. We can use something as like a song pod. Sprinkle. I call this a laughter pod actually, but it's actually called a song pod. And I know that Sound Wellness has them, and it makes a jingly ha ha ha, 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 ha. And then I just ha 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 along with it. That can lighten things up, shake things up, allow them to move. Vibration. You can use a singing bowl like you used with Incredible, our drum, sound and vibration, a little song. Sing yourself a little ditty. So let the sun shine in, or make up your own little ditty, or hum, hand on the heart and hum, drop into the heart and just say, I'm not feeling, okay, feeling better. You tune in. What else? Gratefulness. Thank you for the walls. Thank you for the electricity. Blah blah blah. Thank you for my books. Blah blah blah. All of a sudden, then you start. It's contagious. So if we can do a gratuit to gratutathon. Gratutathon. So even when you're not thankful, because there's a lot of times we fall into depression or fall into a lower place and nothing looks good. Even a bright sunshiny day doesn't, oh, forget it, I want to go to bed. If you could say, okay, thank you for this bed, just one thing. Thank you for the clothes on my back. Thank you for my partner. Thank you for my friend. Thank you for light. Thank you for dark. Thank you for the sun. Thank you for the moon. Simple things that are, you just, and then all of a sudden it's contagious. Essential oils. Another way to add their essence. So if I'm feeling blah and I'm led to an oil, I use orange or lemon, something a little perky, lime. And there's other ones. I mean, there's lavender is very comforting. However, you might not want to use lavender right away. You might want to shift the energy in an upward motion, and then put a calming oil on yourself. And just a little aside about oils is you get what you pay for. Make sure that there are a company that is doing outside testing and purification means. If you go to a store and you see an oil that you've never encountered before, and they're just a small company, they probably can't do outside testing. Well, the pesticides that they didn't use, but they drifted from wherever, or the herbicides from the ground, sucking up, whatever toxins and things can be included in those. Also, some companies, they don't have access to lavender that day, so they use lavandula and they flavor it with a bit of lavender. Well, the outcome is far different than if you used actual lavender. It still can be positive, but it's a far different vibration of plant. They're related, but they're not the same. So I encourage people to do their research as well for those types of things. And there's four different oil producers, essential oil producers that I know of that are outside testing, independent testing, and they also make sure that there's purification factors going in. So those are some of the ways that I can think of off the top of my head. Sound, oils, thoughts, even just
Mm.
drag yourself into a happier thought.
I love the gratitude-a-thon is something that works so quickly for shifting. Sometimes when I found my mind in the past really captured by worries, and this is going back quite a few years when there were all kinds of things going on in our family causing challenge, and from death in the family, change of job, all of those things that can create a challenge to the mind. One of the things I found myself doing, Carmen, is allowing my mind to stay with Om. So I would spend the whole day, if I wasn't talking with people or communicating with people, singing Om in my mind. Well, even if I was talking with people, I could still be singing Om in my mind. And just like the way we sang it a few minutes ago, I found that was a really, really helpful distraction to keep me out of the heaviness of those kinds of thoughts. And when you do that, because when you allow the mind to be captured by these disturbances in the field or disturbances of thought form patterns in the mind, that are on the negative side of things like worry and fear and all of those things, then it has serious consequences for your health and well-being. So it's really, really important first to notice them. Oh gosh, I just spent the last hour worrying about so and so. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe it's time to shift that, because that when you worry about someone, it's all about fear, and that has nothing to do with the other person. What that does is it shifts your own physiology. Every time you worry, you shift your own physiology, making it harder for your body to be healthy. So for those who tend to worry, I encourage you to start noticing when that happens and choose something, even Gloria or Amen, Hallelujah, Shalom. There are so many sacred words that you can use. For me, it was Om. It was so simple that I could allow my mind to continue Om easily and then get me out of the patterns. Because when you break the patterns, you change everything in your life, really. And
Really.
that's an important part of that handling the negative energy up here, because this is a big one right up in here.
This is our itty bitty committee, always
Yeah.
telling, always, always trying to keep us safe.
It's
And I wanted to just quickly mention that this heavy lower vibration creates dissonance, which is needed for the shift that's coming in this world.
mhm.
And it's needed for us to actually pay attention. If it was all consonant and lovely, we don't need to change anything
Mhm.
or shift anything. Change implies that it's wrong or bad, and it isn't. This is all perfectly. So if we can take any comfort in the blah, we could say, oh, thank you for the blah. Ugh. And that shifts something within even the blah.
I hadn't thought of it that way, Carmen. How interesting. Huh. That's very interesting. I like that. Oh my goodness. Hmm. I also love the feeling of the hum, because this is such a beautiful natural sound. And how about we just do a little bit of humming with just centering ourselves in the heart. If you put your hands on the sternum, on the chest, and breathe in, notice how your chest moves with the breath, and then add a hum with your hands on your heart. Pure heart food. Beautiful. And let's add the intention as we hum a few more times to let the sun shine in. Even if it's cloudy and raining or snowy, let the sun shine in. That feels amazing already. Wow.
And let's pause for a moment and invite people to take stock. How are they feeling? Did that feel, shift a paper thin layer of that heaviness? Did it all of a sudden flow you into a fabulous space? Yay. And it could, because as an onion, like being we are, dealing with emotions, we're peeling off layers. So as we peel off one layer, oh, that feels so much better. Now we've hit another layer. And we go back, it's almost like we're going backwards to childhood of all the traumas that we didn't know how to release as a child. Or maybe we did. We're always shushing our kids, but if they're screaming, they're releasing.
And just the physical feeling of the hands and the heart, is an emotion and something you can do that really fills your being with that sunshine. That's you and your voice, and that can shift those things so quickly.
Yes. Yes. How can it be shifted in our environment? Well, we've talked about a few different ways. And intending, as you're flowing to yourself, intending for that same energy to be released for the greater good is, for me, very powerful.
I think our conversation is complete, Carmen. How about we circle back to our ohms again and call in the ohms to bring harmony and balance.
And to close this sacred circle and to allow us to be encapsulated in a little more gratitude, a little more happiness, a little more uplifting for the rest of the day.
Oh, what a beautiful intention. I love
Imagine
that.
a beautiful pink or purple bubble enwrapping you and filling that up with this beautiful sound of ohms so that you can carry it with you for the whole day.
Is Mashindra calling, or should I bring Incredible over?
Oh, let's use Mishindra.
Okay, cool.
So I love Incredible and Mishindra.
I
Both
love
are
them too.
both are so loving, such loving energy. So we'll just do a few ohms. bubble with all this beautiful vibration. Feeling the love that we are sharing with you. And with that, my friends, we close our circle and send you off on your day in love and light. We cherish you and enjoy you, your presence here with us.
Thank you, Carmen. We'll see everybody in 2 weeks for our animal show.
Yes. Have a great day.
Bye bye.